So thanks a lot for watching, thanks for staying this far if you have. Hopefully it'll help you out with the fitting of your systems, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. I recently posted a video on my experience of the second service, the 6,500 mile or 10,000 kilometre service on my BMW R1250 GS, and I got a lot of great comments. Always like comments about other people's experience with the GS, other people thanking me for bringing up some of the issues and that they'd got the issues too. So all of that feedback is absolutely fantastic, but surprisingly one of the feedback that I got, or comments that I got, which I've tried to answer but probably totally inadequately, was about the in-helmet video and audio that I use when I'm riding the bike, and you would have experienced in that video, and I'll reference the second service video up here. And so I thought, rather than giving the huge great long-winded comments, I'd put a video up about the audio that I produce from inside my helmet. Now obviously a lot of this is specific to the equipment I have, but hopefully it'll give you a little bit of an insight as to how I put it together and how it works and what equipment you would need to get at least reasonable audio when you're riding a motorcycle, with particularly the wind noise being the issue. Just a couple of the key components, and then we'll go through the individual components in a lot more detail. I have a Shoei Neotec 2 helmet, and that has a built-in intercom and comms system using the Sena SRL unit, and that makes for a very integrated look for the helmet, but it does give a few challenges for putting in other audio. But it also helps out because it has channels for the boom microphone that I've used to route the microphone through, but we'll see that a little bit later. So the Shoei Neotec helmet, and I have the GoPro Hero 7 Black action camera, and it's probably the best one. It has great image stabilization, and I maintain it's probably about the best image stabilization, but that's certainly the camera that I mount on the side of my helmet. And again, we'll see how all of these components get put together at a later date. You may have noticed as well that I have a camera facing me on my left-hand mirror. That's actually a very old, 5-year-old 1080p only, I think 30 frames per second maximum camera, and I use that for footage facing me just to give a little bit of variation between that front view and the rear view. And actually that's in a waterproof mount, and I drilled a hole in the side of the waterproof mount to put a micro SD cable in, pushed into that, and then very carefully routing it, making sure I've got enough slack to still be able to operate all the controls and the handlebars and everything else. I run that all the way down to the right hand side of the cockpit, where it then goes into my USB adapter. So I've got permanent charge on that unit, or permanent power on that unit, meaning that it's limited only by the size of the memory card that I use in it. So what we'll do now is take a look at all the individual components that go to make this up in a much closer way, and hopefully it'll give you an insight as to how I produce the video and audio on my bike in the videos. Let's take a look. Okay, so let's go through the individual components that we have. This is the GoPro Hero 7 Black. It is pretty much, I guess, acknowledged as the best action camera that you can buy. It's got great image stabilization, but it equally is expensive. It does have an advantage in as much as to be waterproof. It doesn't need a waterproof case, but actually we de-waterproof it, if there's such a terminology, when we put it on a motorcycle, because we need to put the microphone jack into place, and that's simply done by removing the waterproof door here and flipping it up, and then just pulling it to remove it. And this is where the microphone jack goes in, which we'll see in a second. Now, very much like Apple, GoPro try to protect their own equipment and their own revenue streams by meaning that you have to have a microphone adapter which is only available from GoPro. You can see it's GoPro branded here and on the tail. It is as well quite a major little brick, but I can assure you as of today, and we're sometime in the middle of October 2019, you cannot buy other than the proprietary unit. And of course, because of that, it's £50. And I'm thinking in the US it's much the same, $50. The frustrating thing is a lot of the time as well, they're actually out of stock of it, which is even worse. But you have to have this to be able to get any kind of real sound from the unit. What we then have is this Ulanzi unit, which is the plastic piece that you see here, the plastic box, and that's the unit into which we're going to put the action camera, so the GoPro unit. Now the reason I got the Ulanzi one is because with the adapter you've got two choices. It's a brick and you either need to tape it or velcro it to the side of your helmet, or you're going to have to find some other way of doing that. With the Ulanzi unit you'll see it's got this tray underneath, and what that actually allows you to do is to thread the GoPro microphone adapter in and slide it into the box like so. And we have a microphone adapter on one side and a charging adapter on the other. I don't use the charging adapter, but equally you could do, which would obviously lengthen the amount of time that you could have the GoPro in there. And then the back door on here then just slides off like so. And with the door off on the side, the GoPro will drop in, and then you can slide this up behind it and it clicks into place. It's got a little click there. Not ridiculously positive, but it does actually work quite well. And then this unit, which is not that flexible, does push in to the USB-C connector on the side of there, and then now you're in a position to put your microphone into there. Now that's the basic setup of the camera on the side. It looks large and it looks heavy. It really isn't. It doesn't affect you either with wind or with weight on the side of the helmet. Now I use the genuine GoPro adapter on here to fit into the side of the helmet, and we'll show you the helmet a little bit later. The reason I use this is because I've not found any kind of pattern ones that with this leverage hanging out the side here don't rattle and move around a little bit, whereas the GoPro one does fit incredibly snugly. I then put in a couple of locking units here just to get myself around the corner. Now the Shoei Neotec has a particular problem in as much as the front face lifts entirely, so the camera has to be mounted to the back edge of that, which brings it right round to the sort of behind the center point of the helmet and more towards the rear. So you've got to bring it out and then around the unit. So I've used a standard GoPro plastic adapter here, and then I've used this rather clever piece of equipment connecting up here, which is actually a ball jointed unit. Now that comes from a company on Amazon called Sametop, one word, S-A-M-E-T-O-P, and it's very nicely made. It's aluminium construction. It's got a metal ball in the middle here, and the thumb screws are also of aluminium construction, and it even comes with a wrench that you can do those up with, because obviously you need to apply quite a bit of torque to get this ball joint to stick. But what that means is you now have the ability to adjust the camera in pretty much every axis that you may want to do it to make sure that you're lined up. Once you've done this, I suggest that you tighten all of these up heavily, or at least as heavily as the plastic ones will last, but as heavy as you can on the aluminium ones. And then truly, it's very difficult for you to move that out of position. And it's just a matter, when you want to do any filming, of connecting this up to the helmet. So let's now have a look at the sound equipment. Okay, so here's the sound equipment that I use. It's an Aufgeld Lavalier, or lavalier, or I think it's lavalier microphone that I use. It's very, very cheap. I think it was £12 or something on Amazon, and it comes with a decent length of lead. It comes with a wind muff already on it here, so there's the microphone itself, and that's with the wind muff on. The wind muff alone is not enough. You will still get a huge amount of wind noise, and the important thing to realize here as well is the unit itself is designed for use with iPhones, so it actually has 3 black rings on it. I think that's referred to as TSSR, and you don't need those 3 rings, or at least you need to convert them. Why does it have 3? Well, because an iPhone has right channel, left channel for stereo, and it also has the talking channel for the phone, so that's why it has the 3 on them, and I think it's referred to as a TSSR. Now the unit from Aufgeld comes with all the converters and everything else, but to make it flexible with my GoPro, I got this Rode microphone adapter, and that one, as you can see in comparison, has 2 rings as opposed to 3. So this is a TSR, this is a TSSR. I think I'm right in that signification, but just be sure that you actually get these all correct. Now this end is a TSSR end. So by plugging this 3-way into its 3-way socket, this converts it to a 2-way, which then plugs into the GoPro camera. Now, after all of that, we thread all of this through inside the helmet, and again I'll show you it on my Shoei Neotec, but I've already said to you that this isn't enough. So what I've actually done as well is I bought some lavalier microphone dead cats, which are these fluffy things, and actually I push my dead cat over the top of this existing wind muff. So all of that, I won't be able to do it with this one because it does take a little bit of persuasion, but all of that goes over the top. Now it looks a little bit ridiculous, but I can assure you that where that is set in my helmet, the wind noise is reduced dramatically, and the only problem you get with it is it does irritate the side of your face a little bit, and you occasionally have to lift your visor to scratch your face. But that's basically how all of that fits together, and now we'll show you inside the helmet. Okay, so this is the Shoei Neotec, and for those of you that are familiar, it obviously has a liftable visor like so, but it also has what I think is a nice feature, only because you can go into petrol filling stations and you can lift this up. When you talk to people, you're far more personable rather than wearing a full face helmet. But it's one of the few that actually is totally legal to use in the upright position, and the reason for that is not only does it push up and hold, it has a lock position as well, so that makes it a legal open face helmet in that position as well. But hopefully now you can see where the microphones fit. So this boom microphone here is the one that is my intercom, so that pairs in with the bike and allows me to listen to music, make phone calls, hear navigation announcements and such like, and obviously the microphone is for talking to the phone or via the intercom, and the earphones are also built in. But over this side you can see the very end of my dead cat. So because this particular helmet has a channel for this microphone boom on this side, it is able to be fitted to both sides of the helmet. So there is a channel on this side of the helmet that allows you to actually run the wiring from the lavalier microphone, and what I've actually done is run it down that channel and then filled the channel with blue tack, and then over the top of the blue tack I just put a line of duct tape, which realistically means it doesn't move, so it's not clipped at all. But we'll show you in a minute with the helmet on exactly how that fits and exactly how that looks. And as I say, the only real problem with it is the irritation that you get on the side of your cheek from time to time with the dead cat running up against the side of your face. Of course, if you've got a beard, it wouldn't matter to you. So let's have a look at it with the helmet on. Okay, so just before we put the helmet on, you'll see we're in a ready to ride situation now. We've mounted the GoPro on the side of the helmet here. Hopefully you can see also, if I move this around very slightly, the wire from the microphone adapter, aka the brick, is not actually touching the side of the visor at all, and it's not interfering with the raising and lowering of the helmet shield, like so. And if we actually then look on this side, you'll see that we've got the Rode adapter going through here. This is the TSSR to the TSR adapter going through, and then the TSSR connection from the lavalier is actually tucked very nicely between these two pivots so that it doesn't also wobble around in the wind, and then it runs underneath the back pad here and actually then is all routed through the helmet as we've already shown you. So we will just put the crash helmet on. Like so. And whilst I look a little bit silly at the film, you'll be able to see now that it's got a boom microphone at the front here, which is the intercom and telephone microphone, and then on this side I've got the dead cat from the lavalier microphone, and this is all now wind protected and ready to go. So it fits quite nicely. What I think you probably need to realise, even if you don't have a Shoei Neotec, which has the advantage of the track that the microphone would normally go down, where I've pushed that in and put some tape over the top of it and some blue tack to hold it in place, so it really isn't going anywhere. It's nowhere that it can go. You could obviously sew that inside the cheek pad of your helmet, but it was quite important to me to actually make sure that this was out of the way. It's surprising what good sound you get right over at the side here, but if you look at the helmet, you'll see that it does have a wind or a ventilation in the front of the chin pad just here. So it was quite important that we avoided the direct wind noise from that as well. So that's the fitment that I've made. It seems to work pretty well. Most people have commented to say that the audio is very good. But let's whip the helmet back off now. And one thing I would say on a safety note, the lavalier microphone comes with a tie clip and everything. I would say don't be tempted to use that in the cheek pad. The only reason I say that is because you really want to make sure that the helmet is still functional, and the least you want is for that cheek pad, if you should have a fall, that the tie pin goes through into your cheek or something. So just be aware of all of those safety functions, that you're not altering your helmet in any way, because it's obviously an important part of your rider safety. So anyway, I hope you like that short video and that you've learned a little bit from it. I'm interested in any of the comments you've got, or any experiences that you've got with video or audio on your bike, and it'll be great if you can give me a like, a thumbs up down below, and if it's something that you think you'll want to review again, then why not subscribe to the channel and press the notification button so you'll be notified next time I post something. In the meantime, however, it's been great to have you along. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot.